You folks have been asking for another high level transfer? Well, Boston College might have one coming in.
You are Locked On Boston College, your daily podcast on the Boston College Eagles. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Locked On Boston College, your team every day. I'm your host, AJ Black. I'm also the editor of Eagle Insider, part of the 247 network. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. We have a packed episode today. We are going to talk about basketball, another embarrassing loss. What's it going to take to make changes this year? I'll give you my thoughts on that. Also, Gerard Mayo out with the New England Patriots. Bill O'Brien's name has been floated. What are my thoughts on this whole situation? Do I really think the Patriots are interested? I'll give you my thoughts on that one. And we'll kick things off with four-star transfer talk, because for the last 2 to 3 weeks, all we have been talking about, other than Dylan Lonergan from Alabama, are FCS transfers. And I know there's been some people who have been not so thrilled with the quality of schools that these kids are coming from. And I've said over and over again, I honestly don't care about the school. I care about the kid himself, whether he has the body and the size and the measurables that'll make him talented at the FBS level. Because I'll take a kid with drive over a kid that's been sitting on the bench. It's just my thoughts. But I do agree with you to an extent that you need to get some level of excitement out of this transfer group. Dylan Lonergan, a four-star quarterback, obviously is that hits part of it, but you want to build a little nice mix of it. And it's been a while. And I had mentioned earlier this week that Mason Minnie from Idaho, that doesn't really hit that. And I'm honestly not even sure. I thought he was supposed to take a visit this weekend. I saw he was at Michigan State, and I'm curious. I'll have to find out more information if he actually made any other visits this weekend, or he just did Michigan State and committed, because I haven't heard anything since then. But that might not even matter, because BC has been linked to another tight end, one that might get your interest a little bit more, and that is Ty Lockwood, a four-star tight end from the University of Alabama. Ty Lockwood was a class 23 from Thompson Station, Tennessee. He's 6'5", 235. He's got good size. And he when he came out of high school, he had offers from everywhere. He had 24 offers. He originally committed to Ohio State, but then committed to Alabama. Now, when he first declared to be in the transfer portal, why would I say that BC has a chance at this kid? I mean, he's probably a high-level tight end. Why would he even consider Boston College? Well, Dylan Lonergan, BC's new quarterback, and his old teammate, the minute that the On3 tweet went out with his name entering the portal, Dylan Lonergan posted on Instagram, "There it is!" exclamation point. Not that much further long later, I got confirmation that BC was interested in him, and I think they're moving along pretty quickly with this one. This would be a nice get for Boston College. Let me read you just a quick little snippet from his high school recruiting scouting profile. 6'5", appears to possess both potential to add weight to his frame. Two-way player, displays good athleticism on both sides of the ball, displays above average inline blocking ability, understands leverages, uses his weight well against defenders. Excellent versatility as a receiver, has the ability to be moved around all over the field, plays with good short area quickness and suddenness as a route runner, moves efficiently, getting in and out of breaks quickly, blah, 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 blah. Projects to be a high-level, multi-year starter at the next level. Now, Boston College should be set next year with their one starter. They have Jeremiah Franklin. We know that Kamari Morales he's from UNC that transferred this year. He's out of eligibility. He's gone. Bill O'Brien loves to play two tight end sets. He goes with either he goes 1-2, one running back, two tight ends a lot. Now, I have been worried next year that what you have is either an unknown like Matt Reagan, who could very well turn out to be the next guy, but he's been hurt a bunch during camp and sometimes during the year, or underclassmen. Because Reagan, I think, is a junior. He's been around for a while. And I said, getting a tight end that could assist there would be nice. Now they landed Zeke Moore earlier this offseason. He's technically a tight end. I think of him more of as like an H back, like fullback, like Frank Juzdik or whatever his name is from uh, the 49ers. I think he's more like that. I don't think I could see them doing more tight end, fullback type sets with him and maybe use him as tight ends here and there. But he had like 5 catches through his whole year now, his whole career, and he's in year 3 or 4. Not that kind of tight end. I think Lockwood, who's now in year 3, could become that guy. He's been around a while. He can catch the ball. He only had 1 catch for Alabama, but it was because he's sitting behind like CJ Dupree, who's borderline NFL, and other 4 or 5 stars. He just never broke the depth chart. It just never happened. So he could do that here. And just like everything Bill O'Brien says, he'd have to earn it. But this would be a valuable depth piece. And I know you guys love your 4 stars. So let me tell you what his rankings are when he was coming out of high school. He was a 92 by 247, the number 14 tight end in the country, and the number 5 tight end. Number 5 recruit in the state of Tennessee. There you go. He's not an FCS guy. He's someone you could get excited about. I like this one. I think it could happen, and I would watch for this to happen. I'm getting closer to put a crystal ball here soon. Just waiting to see if you never know. There's always times where blue chip schools come in, and then it's like, BC gets pushed to the back. But clearly, he has a relationship here. He knows Bill O'Brien because Bill O'Brien was his coach when he was getting recruited. He did not play for Bill O'Brien. No, he didn't, because he was with the Patriots in 23, but he was there when he was being recruited. So of course he knows Bill. He knows Will Line because Will was there too. And he knows Dylan Larnigan, who clearly was part of the same recruiting class as him. So there's a connection there as well. So there's a lot to look forward to here. It's been quiet other than that. As I said, I'm not sure Mason Minnie even made his visit. And if you're going to get Ty Lockwood, who cares? You get your tight end right there. But we'll have to keep our eyes open. In terms of players heading out, it's been quiet. As I said, Nigel Tate and Regan Terry, 2 defensive tackles that never played, both into the portal. Hopefully they both got their degree and they can move on and find some good luck there. Because when you get players that leave, sometimes it's just like that. Best of luck to you. They didn't really do much. That is how things ended for them. Let's get those scholarships and try to find some players that could actually play for BC next year. And that's not a knock on him or them. It's just the way things are. Now, in a moment, big NFL news. Ones that surprised me was Gerard Mayo got fired by the New England Patriots, like right after his press conference on Sunday, excuse me. Does that mean BC could be losing their head coach? I'll explain why you guys need to take a breath. We'll get into that in a moment. From big upsets to game-winning drives, the NFL playoffs are better with FanDuel, because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. The FanDuel app gives you everything you need for live bets, same-day game parlays, and so much more. Visit the website and share betting lines around your league or team. Just visit FanDuel.com today and join to get started with $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Now, with FanDuel, you could have, if you lived outside of, let's talk BC basketball. If you lived outside the state of Massachusetts, BC was a 7.5 point underdog. They lost by 20. I've been fading on BC a lot this year, especially when they get to the ACC level. If they're going to give them that little amount of points, wait till you play against a team like Duke. So maybe you want to fade on them. You can do that on FanDuel. So make this playoff season unforgettable with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Locked On Boston College, AJ Black here. Thank you for making us your first listen every morning. If you have already subscribed to us on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast, thank you. I love each and every one of you who text me every day on our Eagles Nest subtext program. We're going to continue to build on that. And if you are looking for a second listen, check out Locked On College Football with Spencer McLaughlin on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. Now, the biggest news for New England fans this weekend was the horror show that was going on in Foxborough on Sunday. All the New England Patriots had to do was lose, and they'd get the number 1 draft pick, which they could either trade or get, Travis Hunter or whatever they want. They just had to lose, which they've been doing a lot of. They've lost 7 in a row, and they're playing the Buffalo Bills. Now, the Bills the warning signs were up there because they were sitting a lot of their starters. Josh Allen, I think, played one snap, and they went right to like Mike Wright and Mitchell Trubisky. And the Patriots, they, to their credit, sat Drake May and they started Joe Milton. Well, Joe Milton had a balling game. He balled out, and the Patriots won. And this is not a Patriots podcast, and this is not why I'm talking about the Patriots. The reason I'm talking about the Patriots was because about an hour after that win, Gerard Mayo, the head coach, got fired. Now, I don't know if him winning and costing them the number one draft pick had anything to do with it. As a Patriots fan, I was pretty upset about it because it was a useless win. But he had, this team had taken no steps forward this year. So it was no surprise that the piece that surprised me was how quickly they fired him. Like, he must have just finished his press conference. They're like, hey, Gerard, come into Robert's office. It's time to go. Now, with him going, the first name that popped up everywhere is Mike Vrabel and Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator of the Lions, Mike Vrabel of the Titans. But I saw The Athletic had a list of other names because Mike Vrabel is going to be, those two are going to be very, very highly sought after. And there's a chance that because the Patriots have been completely dysfunctional since Tom Brady left, that coaches like them are going to say, nah, I'm going to go look somewhere else because there's other options out there. There's the Jets, the Jaguars might open up. The Giants are open. There's going to be some other, Falcons may open. There's a lot of teams that may have spots that are more desirable than the Patriots. So when the Athletic came out with their list, of course, on their list, they were naming coaches that have Patriots connections because that's been something that I think is very important to Robert Kraft, the owner of the Patriots. You saw Brian Flores, former Boston College, star, and of course, Bill O'Brien. Bill O'Brien was on that list, and I think he's going to be a name that gets battered about. But I'm saying this the point of the segment is to take a breath because I don't think Bill O'Brien is going to be hired by the Patriots. And this is not a Bill O'Brien doesn't want that job. I'm pretty sure that if they offered it to Bill O'Brien, he would take it. It'd be a pay increase. He doesn't have to move. He can get all the local stuff that he wanted for his family, the medical care he needed for one of his children. That's all still here. But he doesn't have to deal with playing at Boston, coaching at Boston College, the grind of the college schedule. That would be there. But I don't think the Patriots would ever get down to Bill O'Brien. You got to think about where his stock is at. Okay. He was a coach in the NFL, right? So he's got experience. That's a plus over Mayo. He got the Texans to the playoffs. He hasn't been a head coach though in a while, and you saw what his ceiling kind of was at the height at the pro level. He couldn't get past the first round of the wild card round in the NFL. He was not a good general manager, which I think Elliott Wolf is going to stay there, so that's not an issue. But I just think they're going to get Vrabel or Johnson because as dysfunctional as the Patriots are, they're still a very desirable team to go to. They've got a franchise quarterback in Drake May right now that you can build around. So someone like Vrabel's got to be licking his chops saying, I can build something around him. And Ben Johnson, same thing. Like, it's a mess in a lot of different positions. Their offensive line reminds me of the 2022 Boston College team. But I don't see the Patriots having to go further down than Johnson and Vrabel to find a Bill O'Brien. So you'll see his name pop up. I want you all to take a big, deep breath. He's not going anywhere. I don't think he is a desirable NFL coach right now. If he had a big season with BC and maybe a couple big seasons, maybe then we'd be talking. Maybe then you'd be saying, oh, he's put together something that you watch and you say, oh, okay, that would be something an NFL team would want. He's showing growth. He's showing that he could put together a program. He could put together an NFL team in the same way. But they went 7-6. I know the 6 doesn't really matter, but they haven't really in a non-BC, non-biased area. Like, no coach would say, "Oh, try to sell that to their fan base and go, hey, we're bringing in Bill O'Brien. He just went 7-6 with Boston College. He was an offensive coordinator for the Patriots when they were terrible, and Alabama fans hated him." that would be a lot harder sell than it would be to Boston College fans. So I'm here to say I don't think Bill O'Brien is going to. I would be surprised. Let's leave it at this. I would be surprised if it gets to the point that Bill O'Brien even gets an interview, because I think the interviews are going to be pretty easy. Like this is the Patriots' first head coaching search that they've had to do in 25 years, which is crazy. But I think the Pats, they're going to probably interview like three guys. It's going to be Vrabel, Ben Johnson, and then they have to do a Rooney one. So maybe someone like Brian Flores. Like you have to always give a minority coach a chance. So maybe a Brian Flores, or maybe there's another African American coach, or coach of color that might get that spot. And then in the end, I'm guessing Mike Vrabel will be the head coach. That's my guess. But I don't think Bill O'Brien will be a serious candidate. Now, in our final segment, basketball, not good. We'll get into that in just a moment. Attending the new 12-game college football playoff is an incredible experience that brings fans together like never before. I remember the excitement of past playoff games and can't wait to make new memories with the updated format and extra teams involved. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for events even easier. It filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Recently, I used Game Time Picks to find tickets for an upcoming Boston College game. Browsing through the deals was a breeze, and I found great value for all kinds of seats around the venue. That super deal in particular stood out as the best value for the event. I love that I could see the seat views when I got my UVA tickets before buying, and the app shows the upfront cost with no surprise fees to check out. Plus, the on-time ticket delivery and lowest price guarantee gave me complete peace of mind. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. This is Locked On Boston College, AJ Black. We're wrapping things up here on our Monday episode. And if you enjoyed our episode today, there is plenty of episodes from last week. We do this 5 days a week, the only daily Boston College podcast out there. I hope you guys enjoy it. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe, and check out Locked On Celtics. They had they've had big games in the last couple weeks. John Krause has it all covered on Locked On Celtics on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. Now, this BC basketball played on Saturday, and that cricket chirp you heard is the interest level that's right now covering BC basketball. They get, as I said in the when I was talking about FanDuel, they are a 7.5 point underdog. Georgia Tech was a 500 team. You wouldn't think that the way that they played in this game, because they ran BC out of the gym. They end up winning by 20 points. BC couldn't do any of the basics right. Their defense, they were allowing at one point, I think it was at halftime, Georgia Tech was shooting 70% from the field and 55% from three-point range. They just, BC couldn't defend, which is crazy given that that's Earl Grant's bread and butter. And they also just, their offensive flow is just terrible right now. Every pass seems labored and hard to watch. Like, they just cannot move the ball efficiently. There's some sparks there. I'm not going to say everything is bad. Fred Payne is fun to watch. Donald Hand can score. Chad Venning is trying his damnedest to go out there and win games for them, but he just can't do it himself. There's stuff that's going on. It's just bad. And with tougher teams coming up, I mean, you've got Duke and UNC, and you wonder, is this going to be the end of Earl Grant? And I'm not here to, start the rah-rah chants for fire Earl Grant. I'll leave that out to you guys. I'm just talking about where I think Boston College is at. In order for Earl Grant to go, he signed to 2029. And again, I want to bang this drum. The length of a contract does not matter. The buyout number is what matters. And we don't know what Earl Grant's buyout number is because it's a private university. So we will never know what that is. So if people are just yelling at you, oh, he signed to 2029, that doesn't matter. We don't know what Earl Grant's buyout number is. And is that a number that BC would be willing to swallow? We've seen I have the picture behind me of Conti Forum. The actual attendance at games, the Miami game was good, but like some of those non-conference games, it wasn't that far off from the picture behind me. It's been bad. And I said on last week's episode, sometimes the cost benefit analysis of like, can you get people actually to come to games would offset the cost of having to pay to get rid of Earl Grant. But what does BC have to do for this change to happen? And they've basically got to tank the ACC conference. And I'm here to say, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't. As bad as this team is playing, and they're going to get smoked by some of those upper teams in the conference. The ACC is bad this year. Virginia Tech, who you play, and I don't remember if it's twice. You play them. You play Syracuse, who, ironically enough, are also really bad. You play Notre Dame twice. I know you play them twice. There's some wins in there. So, as much as you want to see if there's going to be a change, I see BC pulling off some wins that are going to surprise you. I do. I don't think it's going to be BC tanking out the rest of the season. If the ACC was playing to the level that they're supposed to, this team would be getting blown out every game. Like if Syracuse was playing like they did under Jim Boeheim, they shouldn't be. They wouldn't win. They wouldn't even come close. I mean, that defense that Syracuse can put together when we're putting together, they would suffocate this offense because this offense can't do anything. But the way I see it, I see this team pulling off some wins. So unless BC figures out a way, well, not figures out a way, really struggles for the rest of this year, I see Earl Grant getting at least one more year. Now, the flip side of that, Blake James, I feel also has a good pulse of what is going right and wrong in BC athletics this year. He was quick to get Bill O'Brien, who he knew would be a tough pull, and he got him in. And he's changed the interest level around BC football. I mean, attendance skyrocketed this year for BC, and it's only going to get higher. You got hockey with Greg Brown. You have baseball with Todd Interdonato. There's, he re-signed Akacia Walker-Weinstein for the lacrosse team. Like, he knows. Blake James is not a dumb guy. And he knows what getting into Conti Forum and seeing all those empty chairs, the missed opportunity basketball is in terms of this profile of this team, of this school. It really does bring the school down. Like, you look at football, there's reasons for pride. You're recruiting. You have a good high level coach. You're good attendance most of the time. You look at basketball, and it's just the students have not cared for 10 years. This needs a shot in the arm, and I think he sees that. He'd be I would worry about him if he didn't see this and say this is a major problem. So he knows. So the flip side is, maybe Blake James just knows that there's a change that he has to make. Like, you can't do another year of this. Like, I guess if you've done it for 15 years and there's been little to no interest, but the interest level after this year isn't going to get better. Unless BC finds, like, if Donald Hand starts to win games for them, like, scoring 30 points a night and becoming the next Jerome Robinson and Kai Bowman, maybe that'll win them some games, and get some interest. But right now, what you're going to see for the rest of the season is opposing fan bases making Conti Forum an away game that's actually a home game. Like, waning interest that's barely there. So the other flip side is, will Blake James see all this and say, you know what, we got to pull the plug now. I can't do another year of this. So that's the other thought. And I part of me thinks he may do that. But the logistical part of me thinks this is Boston College. Everything moves at a snail's pace, and we know how far the Leahy and the board is with purse strings. Maybe that's not going to happen. Well, we'll have to wait and see. They lost again. I have a hard time paying attention to them. I have writers that cover it for me. I get the recaps. I watch the game on 2x speed and kind of zip through it. But it's tough. It's a tough watch right now, and maybe things will change. We'll have to wait and see. On tomorrow's show, maybe we'll have some more updates on Ty Lockwood. I'll hopefully get those to you as soon as I can. We'll update everything on the transfer portal. We're going to have Mitch Wolf on this week to give out our superlatives for BC football this year. His thoughts on everything that happened. We got a lot going on here 5 days a week. Thank you all for making Locked On Boston College your first listen, and we'll see you all again soon for another episode of Locked On Boston College, your team every day.